It's showtime, folks. Enjoy the show.
Oh, dear.
And a fine Saturday morning to
it's
you.
must-see TV edition,
fine.
Thursday night. Come on.
That's right.
Yes.
We are Must See TV. Did you? So I posted a video of the data graph of the last, like, since 1970, since Star Wars came out, of all the money
have not seen
made
that.
by Star Wars,
Oh, there
Marvel,
it
and
is.
DC. So I posted that. Is this whole video, and all it is music over a bar chart that changes over time. Like, it just moves around, and it is mesmerizing. It's a thing that I am super addicted to. And they had another one, which was a top 10 TV shows by viewership over the last, like, 3 decades. And it has the little icon, the network icon, next to each show. So you can see, like, man, as the time clicks by, you see when ER came around and just dominated, and Seinfeld, and the Cosby Show, and then suddenly Game of Thrones comes around, and boom, the scale has to adjust, and it's just fascinating. It was really fascinating, and you can see there were entire, like, 5, 6, 8 year blocks where one network dominated 8, 9 of the top 10, and that, it typically went back and forth between CBS and NBC. There were some ABC dominated shows, but CBS had, a lot of medical and law shows, and they kind of cleaned house for a while. So it's fascinating to look at that stuff.
I'm looking at the one right
Star
now
Wars one?
the Star Wars one. I have to. It's Star Wars versus Marvel versus DC, and I have to say, already, I'm up to almost 1989. I'm very disappointed that Howard the Duck is not on here. That the original Punisher is not on here.
Andy, you,
they're clearly,
of all people, should recognize that there is a lot of activity.
Swamp Thing
below.
Swamp Thing.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of activity down below.
below
the
Superman
bar.
4.
Yeah, Superman 4 made it, but no Howard the Duck? I'm
Right.
shocked.
I'm watching Batman. Batman kind of creeped on. Batman Returns is creeping on now.
I think
this is actually really nice. I like this.
Oh,
this
it's great. And so at the end, it'll show you the you can go watch the others from these guys, and it's a really addictive channel for a guy like you, Andy, who lives in spreadsheets, who's built his home out of spreadsheets. Yeah. I think you're going to like it.
It's stronger than straw.
Yeah, spreadsheets are stronger than straw.
What's interesting? Hey, they included steel. Oh, geez. Okay, so what I will say about this is I'm curious to get to the point where all of a sudden it's like constantly things are coming out.
Oh, yeah.
Because right now it's like there are long gaps where just nothing's changing.
Just wait, because then it explodes.
Yeah,
as soon as
I'm
Blade
up to the first
comes
X-Men.
on. Oh, Blade,
the
X-Men.
Blade's already on there.
Yep.
Yeah, Blade and the X-Men. Yeah.
No, they could have compressed time just a little bit. Just to move it along. People. I think they did.
Spider-Man
it's
just
entertaining,
shot on
but there was a website that did this with songs by week. And what was nice was that it would actually play clips of the song that was at number 1, and you'd see, over like the 80s, see Michael Jackson, Madonna, Tina Turner battle it out. And so this is entertaining to watch, but it would be nice if they, I don't know, had something more. I don't know. Change the background.
Well, that's why go watch the TV one, because that's the one that's gonna. There's so much,
right? Because
there's so much drama.
This sort of like gets locked down for several years here. Nothing's going on.
And it's really from 2009 on. But that actually surprised me because I, having spent as much time as we did invested in Iron Man, it was disappointing to see it not quite creep high enough in the top 10 list there. I wanted more activity.
Yeah, it never quite made it up. It was odd, though. This was a weird one. It looks like around December 2009, January 2010, The Dark Knight is in 4th place. And then suddenly Return of the Jedi bumps it back out of 4th place. So weird. What was that shift for?
No idea. So that's my contribution of the week. You're welcome.
I love it.
All right.
I love it. Very interesting. Very mesmerizing. I'm like hypnotized.
Just like, go, Spidey, go. Go, Spidey, go.
You do. You're rooting for it. This happened like 15 years ago, and you're still cheering. Maybe something will change.
Spider-Man 3 so high? No.
Right.
Well, I'm curious. This must be like, I wonder if this is just domestic because like Spider-Man is still on top of Spider-Man 2 and 3. And I think that was only domestic because I think globally Spider-Man 3 ended up on top, which was strange.
Well, and I found myself frustrated because there's no place in here that actually says how it handles adjusted dollars over the years, and let alone a subchart that is adjusted dollars per finished minute. And so I found myself distracted in some uncomfortable ways.
I need to get in touch with these people and have a little chat.
New graph.
Yeah. Let's start all over.
Yeah.
Scrap this. It's not accurate.
Let's see. I do have one more bit of news. Okay. Because we talked about it last week, and I am more than willing to not say anything more than this. I did finish The Irishman. That is all.
Oh, yes, I saw. Yep. I saw. And you liked it.
Yeah.
You thought it was pretty good.
Thought it was pretty good.
Yeah. Okay. Since you asked, the last hour was some great filmmaking. It's a great trio, and I enjoyed where it went. I think you see the movie for Joe Pesci. I thought he was the most like wonderfully baffling character to not play a typical hard-nosed kind of gangster thug, and I just really liked his approach to this. I think Al Pacino was a wonderfully sort of comic character in this thing, and I thought he was great. You do see this movie for the last hour, and the first 2.5 are trouble, and it loses a lot of weight for me because it's a lot of movie to apologize for.
Only one star worth of weight.
I know.
Though.
Well, it's technically 1.5. I think the movie will probably grow on me, but I really despise this whole idea of like you have to apologize for 2/3 of the movie being so loose, and I'm not cool with that. That was really frustrating. So overall, I mean, it's going to age well. I did not like the de-aging. I couldn't get over it. It was just watching 3 Thanoses wandering around the screen the whole movie. I couldn't do it. I think it's like, you think you're not making a Marvel movie, Marty? You think you're not making a Marvel movie? Step right up. You're doing fine. At least we know you have the chops to do it. So
I've seen more and more people coming in with like 1-star reviews saying it's completely overrated.
It is
now I'm really
wildly
curious.
Overrated. Like it's getting way too much. And I was talking to Tommy about this today, that if he had gone about, I think, casting other actors, younger actors for the different time periods, I just don't think think he would have crested the conversation. Like this is a perfect storm of things in favor of talking about this movie: the de-aging, the Netflixification of it, and all of the controversy around him not keeping his mouth shut about cinema. And so people are talking about this movie. I think all things being equal, it's a great strategy for them, and it's a way overrated movie for all the talk that it's getting.
Yeah.
Steve, you're laughing at me. Do you disagree?
Yes, I do, but that's...
Where are you at with your Scorsese filmography, Steve? Are you a regular Scorsese? Like, watch everything that he does?
No, I'm not. I don't like do the rock and roll documentaries. It's not like, I've got to see that Rolling Stones thing he did. I did try the Rolling Thunder review thing, but it's really long, and I started it late at night, and I thought, I don't know what to make of this thing, first off, because it's, everybody thought it was a serious thing, and then it's like this pranky, hoaxy thing. So that stuff, but most of his like narrative dramas, I do. I'm a fan. I don't love all of them, but I've missed a few. Like Silence, I missed out on that one. I'm regretting not seeing that one in theaters. It's one I want to get around to. But yeah, I will go out of my way to try and, find time to sit down and watch a Scorsese film. I appreciate what he does with his storytelling.
Yeah, he's I like his films in general, but I think there's a lot of movie in a lot of his movies where he doesn't know how to thin them out very well. Which I think is fine, and I certainly felt that with Silence. I felt Silence was like interminably long for me, but it was good. It just it could have been an hour and a half movie, and I would have been fine with it. So
well, it's so fascinating. He is like the perfect filmmaker for modern delivery mechanisms of movie. Like, I know, let's take the whole like cinema experience out of it. This is the perfect movie for Netflix. It's a perfect movie for being able to watch it and stop it when you have to get up. Like, so it is perfect for like that kind of experience. Perfect for being able to go back and rewatch sequences that come by. Like I think he is. There's a lot of promise for him as a filmmaker in this platform, and I really enjoyed watching the roundtable. Steve, did you watch the roundtable after? The way he talked about the de-aging, I really appreciate, which is, we use it for makeup. Like, that's essentially what we're doing. And we just had to come to terms with the fact that we were, this is the technological equivalent of prosthetics and makeup. Mm-hmm. And that made it much easier for us to kind of wrap our heads around. And so I really liked hearing him talk about his approach to the movie, and I'm 100% with Andy that there's a lot of film in a lot of his films. But the bit that stuck out to me, which I think is really charming, was Joe Pesci talking about like coming out of retirement for this thing.
Yeah.
And he says, Scorsese, Marty comes to me and he says, you're going to be doing some scenes with Al. And I says, Marty, I don't know if I want to do this movie. He says, why not? He says, well, Al kind of blows up, and I don't know what to do with that. Like, what if he does that with me? And of course, he's sitting right next to Pacino, who's looking around like, whoa, it's just really, really charming. I thought that was a really great bit. So there, obviously you got to see it, Andy, but curious what you think. I did my Scorsese filmography. I've seen all of his stuff except for this one, so I'll see it. But I'm with you, Steve. Like, I skip everything that he's doing as far as his documentaries and stuff. Like, I just don't have any interest in that. The
George Harrison one I did catch on Netflix, and that one was really interesting because that's more of a biographical documentary versus like concert stuff. So that one is really interesting, and I learned a whole lot about George Harrison. And I found that one, there was a lot of the Beatles stuff that you've heard before, but there was a lot after he left and his own sort of personal, just the weird stuff that I forgot about, like the break into his house and all of that. That one I really enjoyed. But as far as there being too much film in his films, I mean, Aviator is one of our favorites around this household. Yeah, we just love that. And I don't know, I guess I just have patience for him and just know that I'm in good hands and that I will be rewarded by the end of the film, and I don't find myself bored or impatient, and I just go along with him, and I enjoy his style of storytelling. So, not for everybody, as we see from several. I think there's been one-star review I've seen and Discorded. Yeah, so far. So
I think in the Discord back channels. So.
Yes. So.
But I've seen other people saying that too.
It's
just very overrated. So,
as a friend of mine said, if you say something on the internet, there is somebody that is just going to just take the opposite stance just to take that stance. So, of course, yeah.
Well, I don't think they are, but I mean, it's true. I mean, every piece of film is going to have somebody who's going to rate it a 5-star film and somebody who's going to rate it a 1-star film. That's just now we see it all.
The thing that this had going against it was everybody was expecting like another Goodfellas, and this is not that type of film. It is, it's the story of these guys reminiscing, taking their time on a road trip. I loved that framing structure of it. So it just it takes its time. It's not as frenetic as Goodfellas, and I think it fits with the story he's telling. And I think people just wanted more. I think that was the same thing with Casino. Everybody's like, "Oh, it's another Goodfellas." And it's not. He's telling a different story. So don't, if you want another Goodfellas, just go watch Goodfellas again. It's a great film. and he made it. He doesn't need to make it again.
I think that there's, I mean, you know, he's a good filmmaker, and he gets a lot of, notice for a reason, because he knows how to put a film together. So, I mean, yeah, even with his long films, I still find interesting things to get out of them.
And this movie is not short of interesting things to get out of it. Again, especially that last hour where the speculation in this one, of what happened to Hoffa, for me was a fascinating and I think appropriate thing to commit to film. Like, this will be one of those interesting stories to look back on, because it's as close to the metal as we got through Sheeran, and I think they played it very well. Like, that was an incredibly rewarding end to me. That's the thing I was most curious about, and they just nailed all the right tones. So that was good. I hate the voiceovers. God, I wanted this movie to just shut up. Just show me what's going on and shut him up.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah, it was. But I'm generally anti voiceover. Like, that's kind of it rubs me the wrong way. And so from the moment we're in I told you last week, I don't need to do that again. It's bad. But you turn the volume down, you get a lot out of it. It's perfect.
Turn the volume down, watch it on your phone. Perfect.
That's right. What else do you guys have on your lists? I feel like we only just talked.
So.
Yeah, we did.
It's okay if you don't.
I did follow through. So I did get around to watching Viridiana because
that was a pleasant
last time re-ranked. Well,
discovery for you.
Right there on the Criterion channel. I thought, okay, I'll check this out. And the Criterion channel had some little shorts that were on there. So Guillermo del Toro talking about it, just a 2-minute clip. And there's a lot going on in that movie, and I don't know enough about the Spanish Civil War and all that, but that didn't prevent me from really having, I don't want to say I had a good time with that movie, but that
was our problem too.
It's not one you say that with, it reminded me a lot of Aronofsky's Mother, and I didn't know that Aronofsky was like a huge Buñuel fan, and I thought, oh, that makes sense, because this just slowly builds to just this craziness at the end, which is what happens in Mother. I thought, now I see the influence here. But again, Aronofsky is a filmmaker that I always have issues with. He just never really seals the deal for me on anything. So this one, though, again, it's hard to recommend, but I really enjoyed the artfulness of it. So thank you for pushing me on that one.
Now you're going to be that much more helpful during our re-ranking.
At least that one. Well, I gotta maybe over the holidays I'll get over to the library and for the other ones.
Yeah,
for some Zhang Yimou.
Exactly.
Zhang Yimou.
Yeah.
So
are we doing more re-ranking?
Well, hold on. I did see Knives Out.
That's right. Mr.
You didn't like it enough,
three
stars.
And that bugs me. 3 stars. 3-star, Andy.
3.5. Did I say 3.5?
Okay.
Somewhere in there.
So you gave it one.
But it's
you
a
gave
lot
it
of
1.5 more stars than Frozen 2. Let's put it in that context, Andrew.
It's worth 2.5 Frozen 2s. Yeah, I say that. I had a great time with it, though. It's a lot of fun, really well structured. My daughter, I took the whole family. My daughter came out of that and totally was like, I love whodunits.
Oh.
She was just totally into it. So we came home and instantly watched Clue, which both kids loved. Oh. And my son loved the idea that the disc has 3 endings on it, and you can hit random and it'll just randomly pick a different ending. And so after we watched it, he went back the next day and redid it. He'd kind of skip forward so he could see how the different endings work, and then he watched the whole thing again. Wow. It was totally into it. It's great. More people need to do that because kids love it.
That's great.
But yeah, no, I had a great time with that, and I did see A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, which I did enjoy. But man, is that poorly marketed, because it's not really. I don't know. I felt like all the push was, biopic of Mr. Rogers, but it really isn't a biopic of Mr. Rogers.
Well, and I actually don't think that they're coming, like, I feel like they're coming back saying, we never said it was a biopic of Mr. Rogers.
Just
all
watch
we
the
said
trailer.
Is Tom Hanks, Mr. Rogers. Whatever you get out of it is on you.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's about a journalist who wrote an article in, I can't remember, in the late 90s, early 2000s, about heroes, and Mr. Rogers was the person he was assigned to. And it's his journey as we see him kind of done with society and very kind of pessimistic, and then how by being around Mr. Rogers off and on throughout the film kind of helps him grow and change and see the positive. And so to that end, it's nice to kind of see that perspective of Mr. Rogers. But boy, yeah, it's a really good film. It's definitely worth checking out. But it is not the documentary, which because they're both about Mr. Rogers, I always forget. This one's A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. That one is
Won't You Be My Neighbor?
Won't You Be My Neighbor?
Yeah. Yes. So it's not that.
What did you notice anything about how it was shot? Was it 48 frames per second, or did it go back and forth?
It was not 48. You said that. I'm like, there's no way that this is the movie. Someone's going to come out and do 48 frames per second. Of course, I said that with Billy Long's long halftime walk or whatever. Billy, yeah. No, this is so what they did with this, which I actually thought was pretty clever, is a lot of the elements of the movie, they actually shot like, if you recall from your days watching Mr. Rogers, he would have like a little town and you'd see little trains moving and stuff like that. And they shot a lot of the footage for the kind of the exterior establishing shots in kind of that space. And so you'd see, when we were in New York, you'd see the New York skyline in that style, shot like with old video cameras. So it had that very kind of plasticky sort of sheen on it, like, because the quality was not quite as good. And like when the plane was taking off, it would be the little pocket plane that somebody would have on a stick that would go woo up into the sky. It was really awesome. It was really great. Yeah, but so a lot of that stuff was done in very much in kind of that old TV video style. And so I think that was the look that probably some people you were talking to were referring.
Some people, they just don't get
some people.
Not like we do, Andy.
That's right.
Are we going to do a little re-ranking today? Are you ready?
We are. I am ready to rock and roll.
Viridiana better come up.
Because now Steve's ready. It will be against stuff that he's not seen, though. I'm sure. This is our re-ranking of our chart of all of the movies that we have talked about on the show over on Flickchart. You can check it out at flickchart.com/thenextreel to look at all of the movies. Right now, there are 430 films on said list.
Yikes.
And we are starting with Panic Room or Transamerica?
Panic Room.
Boy, Transamerica is a good one, though, but I will say Panic Room. Have you seen those both,
I've seen
Steve?
Panic Room. What is Transamerica?
Felicity Huffman.
No.
Recent jail.
Recently incarcerated.
No.
Where she plays a
transitioning
man going through a transition to become a woman.
I have not seen that one.
She is
amazing. She was nominated for best actress. Yeah. Worth checking out. But Panic Room's the choice, and Panic Room holds steady at 237. Next up, we have Close Encounters of the Third Kind, or one of our recent David Cronenberg films that we talked about, Dead Ringers. I have to say Close Encounters, absolutely. Yes. All right, that held steady at 46 on our chart. Next up, we have one of our Man with No Name trilogy, A Fistful of Dollars, versus one of our... what was the series for the Parallax View? It was the
Paranoid,
the Paranoia trilogy. Yeah, say Fistful of Dollars.
Yeah, I'll go with Fistful of Dollars.
Boy, Parallax though, that sequence in that.
Yeah.
All right, Fistful held steady at 280. Next up, we have Aliens or Carrie.
Aliens.
Brian De Palma's horror film. Yeah, absolutely. Aliens. Thoughts, Steve?
Aliens, yeah. I mean, it's a classic.
Yeah, it is. All right, next up, Aliens held steady at 50 on our chart. Next up, another Alien. We have the first one, Alien versus LA Confidential.
Oh, wow.
No, it's not.
I think I'm going to go Alien.
That's correct. That's the correct answer. I concur. I bless this decision.
At least make a big show of it. That's the important part.
Alien held steady at 21 on our chart. Next up, we have one of our film noir films, Double Indemnity, versus another of our film noir films, Touch of Evil.
Double Indemnity, I think. I could be swayed.
It's been a long... it's been... Those are not fresh in my memory. I mean, I know I've seen them, but it's been decades.
About the...
Double Indemnity for me is the better representation of just like the
noir,
perfect noir film. But Touch of Evil is I think Orson Welles, at his finest, despite Charlton Heston playing a Mexican.
Yeah. God, it's so...
I got to go with Touch of Evil.
All right. So, Steve, go ahead. Break the tie. Break the tie.
Oh, man.
Wherever you go,
Steve's
I feel
like he's
okay.
sure.
Yeah, I know. This is tough because, I guess Touch of Evil.
All right.
Yeah.
That's fine. That's an okay pick.
Well, that fit because Touch of Evil held steady at 17 on our chart. Next up, we have an early Michael Mann film from, I can't remember what series this was in. Oh, it was films from 1981. Thief.
I still have to see that one. My brother's been berating me. I know.
Goodness.
I know.
That, and you know what? That surprises me that has not played at the Alamo Drafthouse near us, because it seems like the sort of film that they would play.
Yeah.
When they do, let me know and I'll go see it.
Pray tell, what is it against?
It is against one of our found footage films, Chronicle. I have to go Chronicle.
Wait. You berate me about not seeing Thief. What a great movie that is. But then, Chronicle.
Chronicle's great.
Yes,
They're both great.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Okay. I mean, I'll go with Chronicle. I'll go with Chronicle. I think it's been a little while since I've seen Thief. But there is some classic James Caan stuff in there.
Oh, and Michael Mann, like when he's like getting into the safe and stuff, and when he's all the cars on fire in the car lot. I mean, there's some great stuff.
I'll put
Debbie Harry.
I'll put Chronicle on first.
Chronicle, yeah. Well, Chronicle held steady at 207, so obviously nothing's changed in our opinion.
We are so opinionated.
So opinionated. Next up, we have The Danish Girl or Die Hard 2. Die Harder.
Oh, okay.
Die Hard 2. So over the top, nonsensical fun. And you hated The Danish Girl. You came out of that saying, like, you had real problems with the way he treated his wife. There were a lot of issues.
I did. I was so mad.
And my issues have grown since then because of you.
Okay, Die Hard 2.
Okay, Die Hard 2 held steady at 291.
Because of you.
All right,
that's
next
a shirt. That's a shirt
you. Next up, we have another of our noir films, The Maltese Falcon, versus one of our more recent, the Rocky series, Rocky 2.
Oh, Rocky 2.
I gotta say The Maltese Falcon.
Rocky 2.
Maltese Falcon.
Maltese Falcon. No, Maltese Falcon.
Yeah, Rocky 2 is great, but this is the Maltese Falcon we're talking
Rocky
about.
Rocky 2 is the end of Rocky 1, man. Which was exceptional.
Yes. Wait, it was a great sequel. It made a great companion
it really
piece.
Did, really did.
But it's not the Maltese Falcon.
You guys are blinded.
Yeah. This is the stuff dreams are made of, Pete.
That's right.
Maltese Falcon takes it. And Maltese Falcon went from 246 to 149 Thank you, Steve.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Why was it so low?
I don't know.
Rocky 2.
It was still, I guess it was below the halfway point. Jeez.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
All right. Next up, we have Seabiscuit or Detroit. 100% Seabiscuit. 125% Seabiscuit.
Steve, before I say anything, have you seen both of these movies, please?
I have not seen
For
Seabiscuit.
crying out loud.
But here's the thing: is I enjoyed Detroit. I don't know what Andy's issues are with it. I actually
Steve,
enjoyed
I was
that.
on the
So
show
many
with him, and I
issues.
don't know what his issues are.
Yeah, exactly.
It was not a well-made film. I really did not
Yes,
like that film at all.
Well-made film. Oh God.
Oh my gosh.
The problem is I'm gonna vote for Seabiscuit because of the feels, but I think that I just think you're so wrong about Detroit that it really bugs me
Yes, it
that
is.
I have to go
I should
with
watch Detroit again because clearly this is something that keeps coming up. Maybe this will
Yes.
be my Children of Men.
I was
doubt
just
it,
going to say,
but
yes.
maybe I'll give it a shot just for
All
you.
right.
You need to watch it in the company
Yes.
of us. That's
Oh.
what needs to happen.
All right, well, you guys can arrange
Okay.
that. I will rewatch it.
Oh, great. All right.
I like
all right,
that
Pete,
you
it's time.
created that, so thank you.
It's time for the Detroit home indoctrination kit for Andy.
Who's gonna bring the
Try
tank?
not to be
Only if
heartless.
the three of us watch it in Detroit.
Road trip. It's
Road
the
trip.
Green Book road trip to Detroit.
All right.
That's wrong.
Well,
Oh.
geez. Well, Seabiscuit held steady at 95.
Okay.
Moving on.
How many of
All right,
these do
next
we
up, we have
do?
closing-
If we re-rank the entire
I don't know.
catalog?
10.
I lost count. I was going to do
All
two
right.
more.
Yeah.
Close Encounters of the Third Kind again,
Yes.
or Dark City. Oh, I got to go Close Encounters, but man, is Dark City a good movie. Oh, this is something that Pete is weighing.
I do.
his opinions
I
on.
am. Just not because they're just they're both. I really enjoy both of those movies quite a bit.
Okay,
Yeah,
but
they're
you gave
both- they're good.
Seabiscuit because of the feels, but you're not going to give Close Encounters because of the feels. So
Yeah, but Dark City also
you
feels.
vote who you want, but I'm going
Dark City. There's feels all over
Yeah,
the place, Steve.
No, not close. No, I'm voting Close Encounters. Pete, your vote doesn't count. Done. Because I've seen both of them.
Steve,
And I think I've even
steps
seen
in to
both.
save me from myself.
Just
okay,
forget
good. That's
it.
right.
Because and even I mean, Dark City, both versions. Yes, I've seen both in there. Yes, I agree, but no.
All right.
Close
All right.
Encounters.
Dark City is so good. Close Encounters held steady at 46. And it's just giving us a lot of repeats. I don't know why. Let me just do a refresh. Last up, we have My Neighbor Totoro from our Hayao Miyazaki series, or Pete's favorite disease film that we talked about,
Oh,
Blindness.
for crying out loud, Totoro.
Oh,
Definitely Totoro.
Oh,
I like
Steve.
Blindness, though.
oh.
I
You
love
rewatch
guy.
Blindness, I'll rewatch
Yes.
Detroit.
You know what?
Yes.
Screw it. Don't watch Detroit. I don't care.
all right.
All right,
Whatever.
Totoro held steady at 91.
Yes, that's fine. Yes.
All right. There it is. There's a good round of re-rank in there.
Some dark days.
Not much
Dark days.
changed. I think
No,
I
it's
think
great.
the only one that changed was bumping up Maltese
All
Falcon.
right. That's fair.
Yeah,
Which was,
that's
which
That's
was
a
a
fair
good thing.
outcome. All right.
Good thing.
Let's talk about
Yeah.
trailers.
Let's do it.
You're
Who-
first up there,
I am.
sir.
A film about Natasha Romanoff and her quests between the films Civil War and Infinity War. This is not what I expected. This trailer. It's not at all what I expected. And I'm not sure what I would have done if I had been in the shoes of the team and of Kate
You were
Shortland.
expecting the Saturday Night Live
I
one,
w-
right? Where's the love story?
The love story. That's right. When more broken heels in the middle of the crosswalk. So Black Widow. The trailer drops, and it felt of a piece with the Marvel universe. I had gotten my hopes up that we were going to get something more along the lines of an origin story, and not of a kind of a family reunited in some fun ways. There is the typical kind of comedy. We get some fun bits of putting on the helmet and you got fat lines. That was kind of, I mean, that was good. I'm excited for this movie. I really love this character and I love what Scarlett Johansson has done with it. I'm a big fan of Florence Pugh. There's a lot going for this movie, and I found myself just a little bit underwhelmed by the trailer itself, and I'm frustrated by that. So I hope that we get some that it redeems itself. You know what I mean? I don't know. Am I alone?
I enjoyed it. I thought it looked pretty interesting, and I like you, Florence Pugh. The fact that she pops in got me excited. Rachel Weisz is in here too. David Harbour as the Red Guardian. Like, I really enjoyed the cast that they put together for this, and I don't know enough of her story, and I think that's although I'd argue that probably held true for the bulk of all the Marvel films. Like, I just didn't know really any of their stories, and so. Kind of coming to this, I don't know. I'm excited. I think that they, for me, did a pretty good job putting a kind of a trailer together that gives me hints of what's going on, but not really telling me much. So I don't know. I enjoyed it, and it piqued my curiosity.
Well, and I'm not going to disagree with that. I think mostly the fault, I guess, is mine because I had worked myself up that putting together the wrong set of breadcrumbs. And this is, I go to Steve, like, I should just not pay attention to anything. How long is it going to take me to learn this lesson? I read too much and had put together the story in my head of what they were going to do with Black Widow that does not exist. That is a fantasy movie that I'm not getting. And I have to get to those side of that.
They've said several times that it takes place after Civil War.
Was honestly, now I haven't read enough. This was the first time I'd heard that was this trailer. Yeah, that was news.
Wow.
So so I don't know, Steve.
Is there something in the trailer that says it takes place after Civil War?
No, but the trailer doesn't say that, but it has been
thanks for
published.
spoiling it for me, Andy. Come on, I didn't know that.
It's not a spoiler.
I wanted to walk in not knowing those things. No,
jeez.
No,
that has been widely discussed everywhere. The fact,
not to me and Pete. We didn't know anything about it because we like to keep our heads in the sand. Yeah.
And she dies at the end. Also. Sorry to spoil it
That's
for you
right.
guys.
Yes. This is, with every Marvel, I'm always cautiously optimistic because I don't know, how it's going to go. This is the first one we've had that's, I guess, no, we've gone back because, never mind. I don't know what I'm talking about because Captain Marvel took place way before everything else. So, but this is the first time we've got a character whose story we're sort of following out of sequence. But I'm optimistic because as I dug into sort of the credits on this, it's written by a woman, Jack Schaefer, and she wrote and directed a movie that I talked about maybe a year or two ago called Timer, which unfortunately you cannot find anywhere on streaming. It was on Netflix for a while. And it's this great little, small little independent movie about people that can get a timer implanted that counts down to when they meet their soulmate. And so this woman who, hasn't gotten the implant and she meets this guy and all that. So it's, a really well done movie that I wish people could find. And so I'm excited again to see somebody that has had success as a small independent filmmaker getting brought on board by Marvel again.
You know what else she wrote, Steve? Olaf's Frozen Adventure.
Oh, did she?
Please continue. Please continue. I just want to watch you talk while Andy does whatever he's going to do next.
Well, she's also writing WandaVision. But again, it's, we're bringing in these, and there was a lot of discussion on Discord about the, whole Marvel model of bring in a director that'll do this piece and we'll take care of the action piece. I don't go to the Marvel movies for the action. I enjoy the action that's there, but I'm, compelled by the story. I'm glad we're getting more of her background. The whole family piece, I'm on board with that. I think I'm looking forward to seeing this cast work together. So yeah, I'm all on board for this one, and I'll be there in when is this? March, April, May?
Yeah,
Whenever this comes out
I
next
think
year.
May 2020 is what I had read about that. I'm buzzing around through Jack Schaefer's credits. So yes, expected May 1st, 2020. That will firm up. The trailer is solid. It is fun. It's energizing. It's everything that we've seen from Marvel movies with characters we like. How you can't go wrong with that. So
no, and again, we're just continuing to stock up the Marvel Cinematic Universe with. I mean, at some point they're going to stop making movies because we don't have anybody to cast in these roles because you got David Harbour and Rachel Weisz in this, and we're going to run out of people.
Well, that's okay because James Dean. We have a whole
because that's right. That's my gosh, I forgot.
Humphrey Bogart is actually going to be
that's right
an Avenger.
Magneto.
Yeah, no, he is. He's an X-Men.
James Dean will be the new Wolverine.
Yeah, this is going to be fantastic. Brave New World. Brave New World. So that takes us.
I'd like to see. We need to do a new casting of start casting all these Marvel films, but go
if they were made in the 40s.
No, not if they're made in the 40s. Who from the 40s who's dead can we now digitally play these characters? Like how about we cast
the entire 1945 starting lineup of the Yankees?
Let's do Betty Davis as Black Widow.
Yep.
We need to do that with all of these movies now. Starring
totally.
Oh my gosh.
This is the next real recast.
Oh yeah, Jimmy Stewart is Vision. That would be brilliant.
There you go. I love it.
Yes. Wanda.
It's just not fair.
Okay.
A bunch of terrible Jimmy
all three of those are slam dunks. I don't know what you're talking about.
No,
Steve, to your trailer.
Cary Grant is Tony Stark. This is great. See, my brother's coming into town this weekend. We got a game to entertain ourselves with this weekend.
So instead of Judy, it'll be Pepper.
Yes. Oh, it's wonderful.
Somebody
That's the
needs
best
to
Christmas
give us
present ever.
Do you know what? I think I have completely turned around my position on recasting dead actors. You know what? It is true. There are no living actors who could do the roles the way those people could.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, living actors.
Oh, so good. Sorry. Not until you're dead will we consider you.
Oh, my gosh.
Wow.
And Orson Welles is Thanos.
He already did it, Planet Devouring Robot in Transformers. This is the next step. Oh, I love it. Too
so
good.
Yeah.
All right. Yes. All right.
Okay.
Time to
Moving
die,
on.
Mr. Samento.
Okay. So this is the Satmat episode with trailers that will never be movies that are on Trailer Rewind. So that's where we are because
this
everything.
Is more the film board trailer.
Yeah.
This is the film board weekend because everything big is starting to hit, and this one I saw. Early in the morning, it had been posted. I got a little Twitter notification. Hey, this new trailer's here. And I clicked it and watched it and was viewer number 75 on this one. And then watched it probably 4 more times because it's been far too long since we've had a James Bond movie. I'd completely forgotten about the whole Daniel Craig interview where he said he would rather slit his wrist than do another one of these movies. But what I love about what they're doing with this franchise and what I get from this trailer is we've moved away from the 70s, the Roger Moore, where it was very episodic, to a much longer story arc about 007. And I'm really intrigued to see how they finish this off. This is Daniel Craig's last outing as Bond. I'm on board for how they tie this up. I know there were issues with Spectre. We all had issues with that. But seeing this trailer is making me want to just go back at Casino Royale and just follow his story all the way through. So I'm very excited to see this. And again, they're updating it. They're keeping it current, but still all the fan service is there. I mean, we've got Bond in retirement replaced by another 00 agent that's a woman. We've got... Phoebe Waller-Bridge is one of the writers on this. We've got directed by Cary Fukunaga on this one. So just, I think, great talent, bringing this to the screen. And then on the screen, we've got, Knives Out again. We've got Daniel Craig and Ana de Armas in this one. We've got Rami Malek as the bad guy. We've got the whole cast, everybody on screen for this one. Everybody's back on board, and I'm so excited to see where this goes. I'm totally amped up for April 10th. No Time to Die.
Christoph Waltz is in it. He's in it, and
Waltz?
They don't show us his feet, so I don't know if he's ever put socks on. That was a point of great contention. The inspector is a man wearing penny loafers without socks, and so I want to know how they resolve that.
That's in the after credits.
Socks
sequence
provided by promotional socks, courtesy of.
I mean, it's Bond. It looks fun. I think that I was actually surprised to see Christoph Waltz pop up in here. I was like, okay, so it's kind of doing the Mission Impossible thing where they're kind of the villain that you had, kind of pops in as the villain that you're still holding, which I guess these guys have been doing for a while, because we've seen that happen in all of these films since Quantum of Solace, when we saw some of the guys that he caught at the very end of the movie.
Right.
So it's definitely kind of a thing that's kind of a running thread here. Yeah, I have also been really enjoying all of the Craig Bond films. One thing there's just a random road that I went down. No Time to Die. There was also a film in 1958 called No Time to Die, which is completely unrelated to the James Bond story. It is about an American sergeant in the British Army during the Second World War. But Terrence Young directed it, who directed a lot of Bond films. And it was produced, one of the producers, Irving Allen and Albert Broccoli.
Oh.
Go figure.
That. Yeah.
I know. How strange is that? And so it makes me wonder if they actually pulled the title from this as something that, who knows? Anyway. Just a random thought.
I have just a few things that I do love about this trailer. And I think of us, I am the one who's probably most bearish on Bond. I am such a fan of Daniel Craig as Bond, and I'm kind of over the rest of them. And so this one, I love the look. I love his look. I love the sort of transfer, now we're getting hopefully the new 00. And I love that it's, I can't think of her name, but she's from Captain Marvel. Lashana Lynch, all of a sudden disappeared. She's wonderful. I'm very excited about this whole transfer. The trailer looks great. The set pieces look quintessentially perfectly Bond. The motorcycle going up the stairs and about landing on a crowd of tourists is delightful. I want to know how that ends, but mostly Bond doing the gun draw at the end in the sewer pipe is perfect. I loved it so much. So I am all in on this movie, and I hope it's a great way to end. It'd be a nice little wrapper from Casino Royale to No Time to Die. So I'm excited about it.
April 10th, 2020. Put it on the film board calendar.
Well, for me, I was going to go with Ip Man 4. Not that I've ever seen any of the Ip Man films.
This was
what?
You giving up.
You've never seen any
is what that was.
You've never seen any of the Ip Man movies.
I've never seen any of them.
Yeah, of course.
Okay. All right.
It's just me, apparently.
Well, I haven't seen.
And I've never seen a Ghostbusters film.
That's
either,
canon.
According
that's
to you
canon.
guys.
Yeah. So. Shut up. Nobody's listening. Andy has never seen Ghostbusters.
But instead, I went with a different film featuring Donnie Yen because the trailer just dropped. And I was very excited because I think what purportedly is going to happen with the live action Mulan makes me rather excited. I'm very curious if they actually do end up not doing a musical, if it's just kind of a straight story. That really kind of piques my curiosity. If they kind of, I was like, okay, I don't know if they're going to do kind of the Eddie Murphy dragon sort of character. I don't know if they're going down that road. it looks like they have like a little phoenix friend that her father kind of conjures for her. So I'm like, okay, so there might be something with that they go down. And obviously the villain has kind of a witch that he's working with that turns into his eagle. And so there are some kind of those mystical elements that do pop up in the trailer, but it's so far it's proving that okay, I don't think that they're necessarily going down that road. But man, when Jerry Goldsmith's kind of the themes from the music that he did for the animated film kicks in, that just kind of gave me shivers. It was so exciting seeing the cast that they put together. I know it was a huge drama that happened when they were announcing this, and there were petitions and everything for Disney because people really did not want the film to be whitewashed. And there were all sorts of petitions online for this. And Disney said, we're going to search and find Chinese people to play the roles, which is great. And so Liu Yifei is playing Mulan, and she looks great in the role. She just looks fantastic. Plus, like I already mentioned, Donnie Yen, Gong Li, Jet Li. Plus, you just have another, like, Tsi Ma is in it, and he's a face that you might not recognize his name, but you've certainly have seen his face if you've seen the Rush Hour films or 24 or The Man in the High Castle. Rosalind Chow is in it, and Star Trek fans would know her. And so it's populated with a lot of people who I think, I don't know. For me, I know there are issues with Disney live action films, and I certainly have issues with some of their films. But this is the one that I'm really hoping that they do right. And I mean, we had the Bancroft brothers on the show. One of them directed it, and the other one worked on it. I hope that this one pulls it through. What do you guys think of this trailer?
Yeah, I watched this and thought, oh no, what are they going to do? But this feels like a true adaptation where they're making it its own thing. There's references, you're going to have those things. The general say, or whoever the guy saying, "Oh, I'm going to make a man out of you." I'm like, "Oh, please, are they going to launch the musical number now?" No, they're not. And again, how are they handling the Eddie Murphy, Phoenix thing? And no, it looks like they've done a true adaptation into a live action movie and not just recreated the animated movie in a live action format. That they've made significant changes, and that makes me very happy to see them have faith and trust to take that story and let it be its own thing in this format. So.
And they actually even said, this is the script for this is not so much just an adaptation of the other movie. They said there's a mix of that movie and the original poem that movie was based on. So they actually kind of went back to the source material to pull some stuff for this.
Excellent.
Yeah, I've always thought this is a movie, a story with great sort of headroom to play with, and so I am really excited for this, and I think it marks a real sort of turning point, an opportunity for Disney to start doing something really different with these live action versions. And I've mostly enjoyed the live action versions of the movies. I haven't seen them all, but the ones I have seen, I've had a good time with. But this one is the one that I've been most interested in from the get-go, and I think it's got a lot of promise. I hope they don't. They have a chance to make a sophisticated live action interpretation of this thing that satisfies a lot of audiences, and I just hope they don't chicken out. I did just post in Discord a amusing screenshot of what I'm seeing on IMDb right now, which is clips from like the video clips from the IMDb Mulan page, and it shows the trailer for Mulan and then another trailer for Mulan and then a clip from Mulan, but it's Rey with the dual lightsabers. I thought that would be awesome. I want that. Give Mulan the lightsabers. And now
it did happen a long
Disney
time ago.
Can do it.
Yes, they could.
That's a little twist to the story. Yeah.
So.
Yes. Well, and I didn't mention Nikki Caro is who they hired to direct this, who is the second woman that Disney has hired to direct a feature with a budget over $100 million. So, and Nikki Caro did a great job with Whale Rider. That was such an amazing film.
Talk about that one for sure. Great.
I'm looking forward to it. This one is going to be having its big opening late March 27th, 2020 here in the States. Okay. So check it out then.
All right. We've got lists.
Indeed, we do. So this week on the show, we released our Dead Men Don't Wear Plaid episode. And for that show, we threw out to all of our listeners a few options to discuss non-medical people performing medical work, trigger words, and intentional black and white movies. The listeners voted and chose intentional black and white movies. So that is what we are going to discuss tonight.
And I get to go first, and this is amazing.
Are you going to disappoint, Pete?
I don't know. I think that when you see my list, you are going to say, well, that's predictable. Everything on here is predictably Pete. Predictably Pete. I'm going to change that. Okay. That's my new nickname. That's my new nickname. The first movie that I know this is a pick that I've done before, so I just don't know how far back you have to go to see it. It's from 2005. It is one of my very favorite movies that address the media and a legendary character in the media as well. And that is Good Night and Good Luck. 2005, directed by George Clooney, telling a really fascinating story for me about the time, the period. David Strathairn was an incredible Edward R. Murrow. I just loved the movie, and it's some great black and white, very classic.
Good pick. I haven't seen it since it came out, but it was a really fantastic film.
You don't like that, Steve?
No. I have so many. I started off with like a short list, and then I'm like, well, no, but then there's this, and then I tried. There's
a lot of options. I forgot how many options there were for this.
And then I tried to establish rules like, well,
that's on brand.
If it's black and white, just because it's set in that era when people were doing things black and white, is that I don't want to say gimmicky, but expected versus intentionally using black and white for some other effect? I don't know. So, yeah. And then there's Andy's voice saying, we talked about that one on the show. So
There's always that.
There's always that. So I went back and I thought, okay, what are some movies that I remember seeing and watching and just being struck by them? And yes, they happen to be black and white movies, or it worked particularly well. And then there's does the whole movie have to be black and white, or is it mostly black and white and there can be some color in there? I don't know. So I'm going to start with one that's fairly recent, and I think it's an overlooked film. We enjoyed it as a family, and I think it did something really, really well with its use of black and white, and there is some color leaking into this one in The Giver with Jeff Bridges, Meryl Streep, all of that. That's the first one on my list, The Giver.
I didn't end up seeing that one, but we have the book, and it was one that I was curious about, and I feel like I should check that out and watch it with my kids.
You should.
Yeah. All right. So I, like you, was in the same place trying to figure out what rules am I going to follow, because I was like you said, some are black and white, but might have a little color. Some are, and I was like, I instantly eliminated ones that I'm like, well, the director wanted it in black and white. They released it in color, but the black and white versions are available now. I'm not including those. Though I was really tempted. So I'm trying to just pick ones that I guess I don't think we've talked about on the show, and kind of ones that I think are a little smaller and maybe the ones that are worth checking out. So for my first pick, I am jumping back to a film that I saw. Gosh, I caught it on TV, I think, when I was a kid, and it really kind of affected me because it was just a really touching story about The Elephant Man, 1980, David Lynch's film. That really, I mean, I didn't know anything about this guy, and the film just took me by surprise, and I just found it completely mesmerizing, beautifully done, and really interesting film to look at. That's not super easy to track down. I think we mentioned it when we were talking about some of our Mel Brooks projects, Pete, because he was a producer on this. But definitely something that's worth checking out. The Elephant Man.
It's been a long time.
Yeah.
But no, that's one of my backups, because I was like, well, If everything else gets stolen, I've got that one. So that one definitely came to mind.
It was actually not a backup for me, and it should have been. I think it's a great pick. It's one of those that's like uncharacteristically non-David Lynchian David Lynch film.
Yeah.
For me, like it approaches a subject matter in a way that I think is less impenetrable than some of his other work.
True.
So
yeah, definitely.
All right, I get to come back around to another one that I'm sure has been picked on this show before, but I can't track it down. And that is, I don't know. I got to bring it up because I don't remember the year. All of a sudden, I think it was 1995. No, it was 1994. It was 1994's Ed Wood. And was it a steal? Yeah. Was it a sweet? Is that the sweet side?
That was the sound of, I didn't even think of that one.
It was. I was like, how? Oh my gosh. Because I just tried to make Emma watch that. And she was like, what is this? I don't understand. And I was like, oh my gosh.
It's
so
one
good.
of those movies. I mean, everybody in the cast is incredible. Johnny Depp all the way down. Martin Landau, Sarah Jessica Parker, Patricia Arquette, Jeffrey Jones. It's just on and on and on. But for me, it's, Bunny Breckenridge. It's one of those classic Bill Murray performances. So Tim Burton, thank you for this movie, 1994's Ed Wood. Well done.
Oh, that's such a good one.
Solid pick.
Oh, yes.
What's next, Steve?
What's next is a film I saw in high school when I was working at the video store. And it's one of these films that I'd heard about, like legendary status. And this was when things were still making that trend, when studios were sort of like rolling out their catalog of stuff. So there were things that, hadn't been seen, it hadn't been available for a long time. And suddenly this showed up on video, on VHS. And I was like, I kept reading about this movie, kept hearing about this movie, had to see it and watched it. And I enjoyed it. It's one I don't think I appreciated as much. And it's something that, as I was building this list, I thought I really need to go back and see this movie because I think there's something I'm going to appreciate seeing it now at this point in my life. And that is Peter Bogdanovich's The Last Picture Show, 1971.
Right.
Such a great movie.
Yes.
Yeah. That was one I had. It wasn't on my... Well, I just have like a giant pile for my list, and I'm just kind of picking. So I can't say it was a steal,
but it was in there.
It was in my pile.
Yes.
It was such a great movie. I love that one. I have it on my list of films to go rewatch sometime soon because it's so good. For my my second pick, this is a film I just watched last month for the first time. It's a film that I had been hearing about for a long time because we have discussed Bob Fosse on the show. We talked about All That Jazz and how brilliant that is. And that film features a pseudo, view of a Bob Fosse character making a film like this. This is his film Lenny that he did in 1974 with Dustin Hoffman playing Lenny Bruce and the comedian. And it's really kind of an interesting and powerful film about his battle with police and courts about using profanity in his comedy acts and all the hypocrisy of the rules that were restricting him. And I mean, just a fascinating exploration of this character that I was like mesmerized by. And the cinematography is just beautiful. And Valerie Perrine, man, if you've only seen her in Superman, check her out here because it's like, wow, okay, you can see why she was so noticed because she is so good in this movie. So that's my second pick, Lenny.
Haven't seen it.
It's on my list.
I think Amazon Prime. I think I watched it on Amazon Prime. So
it's out there. And I watched the first few minutes of it because I think it was on Hulu or Amazon Prime because I love All That Jazz, but I've been watching Marvelous Mrs. Maisel on Amazon, and Lenny Bruce is a character in there. And I thought I need to check this Lenny movie out because there's so many things pointing me to it. And I watched the first 5 minutes. And I thought, okay, I see where this is going. I wasn't in the right. It was late at night. I thought I'll come back around to it. And I just haven't come back around to it yet.
Oh, make some time. It's a great one. Yeah.
I am dumbfounded that I got through all three of mine and nary a a steal has happened.
Yeah. Andy's got
I know,
a
he's a
pile.
pile.
I've
We
got
both
a
have
giant
piles.
pile.
Yeah.
I hope
Yeah.
I hope this one's a steal because it absolutely damn well deserves to be. It's one that took me too long to see too, but I finally did, and I have to tell you, it's possibly my favorite Bruce Dern movie. It's not quite my favorite Alexander Payne movie, but that Will Forte is a straight up talent. And I am talking about 2013's Nebraska. This was a terrific film and surprising choice to shoot in black and white. And it starts, and I'm like, I wonder why we're doing this. And is there utility for this? And by the end of the movie, it's just like, yep, I love it. That's why it should be shot in black and white, because I love it that way. And it was meant to be. And it just is hand to glove, natural fit. Nebraska, 2013. You guys caught it?
Great movie. It is in my pile.
Yay, it's a pile.
It is a really fantastic film, and a lot of moments from that film still stick with me, like when they're stealing the thing out of the barn, the old generator. It's just it's
Right.
so good. That movie is really just fantastic.
I'm just not an Alexander Payne fan.
Oh, Steve.
I mean, we enjoy Election. Sideways, I just really couldn't stand.
One
And
of my
Descendants-
favorite movies, and
Yes, I
super
know.
representative of the modern male challenges.
Yeah, whatever. Descendants was fine. I enjoyed it,
Yeah,
but
What
it's
You
nothing
Meant
that
is
I'm
great. Yeah,
nothing
it's
like
good.
I'm like I have to see that again. So yeah, and Downsizing, I started, and like halfway through, I was just like, this isn't going anywhere. I don't care anymore.
Downsizing's
So,
my least favorite of his too.
Yeah.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
All right.
Well, the one, what's the one with Laura Dern where
Citizen
she's
Ruth?
pregnant?
Yeah.
Citizen Ruth. That's definitely another great
Okay.
Okay.
one.
All right.
Okay.
Steve?
What do I? Yeah.
How's your pile?
And it comes back to, why is it black and white? Because there are some cases where it's like, it's black and white because I had no budget. That's all I could shoot was black and
Yeah.
white. And I'm like, no, is that it? Or is it the, intentional, like making a statement with it? I'm going to go with a film that's very recent and was on a lot of tops of people's lists, and was an amazing experience. And that's 2018's Cold War. So that's how I'm going to end my list, because I think, as Andy said, there's piles of films. There's so many good ones out there, and if I want to bring some attention to a film, it's this one, because I hope people that missed it now go seek this out on video, because it's a devastating movie, but it just in 90 minutes there's so much that goes on in this film.
And I think, has it come out on Criterion yet, or is it about to come out? I can't remember if it's arrived.
I think
yet
it
or
might
not.
be on that coming soon list. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know it's there. So yeah, it was a good one. I saw it fairly recently, and it's a pretty powerful film and beautifully put together.
It was just released November 19th. So there you go for some Christmas shopping.
Well, for my final one, I am looking at, again, very tricky, but this is one that if any of them, I would love more people to check out. It was a haunting and mesmerizing film. It does dip into color in one sequence, as memory serves, but the whole film itself is just like this spellbinding story about people in the Amazonian jungles, taking place in two time periods, as botanists are recruiting native guides to try finding these special kind of flowers that are mysteriously out there somewhere, and they're not sure where. It's called Embrace of the Serpent, and I think it was nominated for Best Foreign Language Film in 2015. There's so much going on in it about exploitation of the land and destroying the cultures, and just the way that the white society comes in and takes the rubber trees, all that sort of stuff. Industrialization. It's a really interesting film, and then it takes this trip down like this crazy drug trip, like 2001 style, where it's like a journey into the brain, and you're just kind of like this exploration of the human consciousness. It was an incredible film, and I completely loved it. It really kind of wrapped its spell around me, and definitely worth checking out. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but Embrace of the Serpent is my final pick.
It's on the list.
It's on the list. And
all right, and it's on Prime. It's on Canopy.
Okay.
I mean, it's all over the place out there. Yeah, I think Vudu has it for free. So yeah, definitely places to check it out.
All right,
awesome.
That takes us to
Pete. You did it again, Pete.
Yeah.
You did it. You did it. You did it. You had the opportunity to include at least one Woody Allen film. There could have been at least one. But no, nothing. Nada. And Andy, you didn't.
No Stardust Memories, no Shadows of Fog.
Why didn't you bring any of these?
No.
I know. Well, the Color Purple, not Color Purple. Purple Rose of Cairo came up. Purple Rose of Cairo came up as we were discussing it here at home. I said, I think that movie just gets banned from lists because it's been used far too many times on here. It's like the SatMat list of movies except for...
Well, that's not black and white, that movie.
Well, I guess the film within the film is. So that's true. That's one of those... See, there's movies that I remember being black and white, like Sky Captain: The World of Tomorrow. For some reason, I thought that movie was black and white, but that's the original short film was black and white. It was actually sort of colorized. And Andy, you didn't include Hard to Be a God? Why not?
I was wondering if you were going to watch it just to see if you would put it on the list. I was really curious. I'm like, this is his chance.
I haven't had time. And then
No, you go watch The Irishman instead.
I know. Well, the first two things that came to mind, which were, I was like, when it comes to intentionally making a film black and white, the first two things that came to mind were Mad Max Fury Road and Logan Noir, because they were color. But again, that's, they were color, then black and white and all of that.
Yeah,
so
or The Mist.
And The Mist was another one.
One.
Yeah, exactly. Right. But I think we have a really good list of some unique films that people may not have seen, which
absolutely
I hope we can do occasionally with these listy things. Yeah.
Yeah, this was a good one. I enjoy kind of all of these films as ones that are worth checking out. So
all right. What are we doing this week?
Lots of good stuff. This week we are doing our next Steve Martin film, which is The Man with Two Brains.
Okay, we have
one.
Pete,
we do have one.
You mentioned it on the show and you wrote it down?
We mentioned it on the show, and we did write it down.
That would be people
us.
Falling out of high places into pools. This is the trope of falling out of like a hotel window or off a balcony and into a pool. And it turns out that happens a lot.
See, yes, I have not seen this one.
Oh.
This is one I have not seen, yeah.
Okay, so we've already got the people
I've only
falling
seen bits
out of
and pieces,
things.
maybe.
It's
let's see. IMDb says brains, serial killers, female frontal nudity, breasts, and prostitutes.
Well, that's every Steve Martin movie of the period. This is another movie where Steve Martin wants to have sex with somebody. So, believe me, it's all there.
But we could do leaning on the brains angle. There's something about, people dealing with body parts, outside of the bodies.
Oh, yeah,
exposed I don't
organs.
know what that is. Yeah.
Exposed organs.
Let's do that.
Exposed internal organs. There you go.
Exposed or internal organs. Yes, not like Hammond.
As opposed to Wurlitzer.
Yes, exactly.
That tells you a lot about me and Andy, which brand of organ we would go to.
Wurlitzer or Hammond? Okay. Let's make that a poll. Which organ do you prefer?
Okay. So that's our second. I had a thought, maybe it was in a fever dream, that a good list might be movies that include set pieces where the walls are not what you think they are. Because in this movie,
are there that many movies? I can't think of any.
I think of it's all movies where it's like prop set pieces, and you think you're in a cave, but then somebody walks through the wall, and it turns out the cave is made of paper.
I feel like Ed
it's going to be the only one. Okay, then we don't want to do that one. That's not going to be not a good choice.
Use that. Well, let's see. We've got brain surgery. We've got
brains in jars or other things in jars. That sort of fits the exposed organs.
Exposed organs. Yeah, that's exposed organs. Let's see. We've got serial killers on the loose, like kind of crazy killers. Where it's one of those stories where over the course of the story, there's also a subplot of a mysterious killer who just happens to be killing people, and it kind of comes into play in the plot later in the film.
Okay.
I don't know if there's anything we could do with
serial killer
that.
as story.
Serial killer subplot.
There you go.
Right.
Serial killer subplot. Okay.
Yeah,
Does that
sure.
I mean,
Why
does
not?
that?
Yeah.
Okay. So we've got people falling from high buildings into swimming pools, exposed organs, which actually, now that I read that, it might sound inappropriate. I like to think our voters are smart enough to know.
Exposed internal organs, Andy. You've got to do that.
Okay, yes.
Yeah.
And serial killer subplot.
All right. Well, this is officially the longest Saturday matinee we've ever done.
Yes, it is.
Plan to give
what
up your
happens when
day.
you do it on Thursday nights.
But a lot of fun. Thanks, guys.
It has been fun. Thank you. And thank you for listening, everybody. And thank you for supporting us.
And thenextreel.com/merch. Happy holidays.
Hondo holidays.